said that I will choose one of his sons. So every son had the potential of becoming a leader. And if you're a leader in this place, you just know that people submit to you, not because you're a leader, but people submit to your vision. But the greater the vision, the greater the position. So if you have a greater vision, you will have a greater position. The strength of a leader is evident in his subject. The glory of the Father is evident in the Son. After finishing that statement, God told him, I will prove to you that it is not by might, it is not by power, but it is by my spirit. You bear with me for only 40 minutes. 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Only 40 minutes, please. The temperatures may not be favorable, but I want you to bear with me for 40 minutes. There is a word that I'm going to release. So praise and worshipers and ushers, mpatane na Moses nje, saizi tu. Mpatane na Moses nje. So I'm trying to so okay. Before I begin, I would like to honor the exec. You see, before a boxer, or when a boxer wins a match, the person who is most excited or the most happiest person is the coach. The most happiest person is the coach, not even the family members. The coach is the most happiest. And so, when I stand before the one who coached me into ministry, it is a really great honor. I'm really honored to stand before my teacher. I know you cannot be greater than your teacher, but I'm really glad that my teacher is seated and listening to me. That is really, I'm really humbled. That I thank you for your presence. There is another man of God called Isaiah. We were raised with him, and he has found time to come and listen to me preach. I thank you. I thank you. And so to all of the exec, I really honor you. I'm really humble, and I'm really proud of working with you. Thank you. So today's message, you see, I may not be the best person to preach this message. I may not be the best person to preach this message. I may not be the most experienced person to preach this message. But I know I'm qualified. I know I'm qualified. And so I pray, I know that as I'm going to preach this message, it is going to touch one of you. And how I pray it will be you. It's going to change somebody's life. And I pray that it will be your life. And so the message that I'm going to preach today, it is called the Spirit of Leadership. The Spirit of Leadership. Today we are going to choose our leaders. And so I believe this is why God gave me this message. It is the most appropriate message during this time. So as you will be seeing the leaders here, they should be aligned to what the Spirit of Leadership carries. How many of you know that everybody was born to be a leader? How many of you know that I was born to be a leader? How many of you believe that leadership is for everybody? It's not for a specific group of people. You see, the Greeks used to believe that for you to be a leader, you have to be a light-skinned person, you have to have blue eyes, and you have to be charismatic. But I thank God because I am a dark-skinned person, I do not have blue eyes and I'm not charismatic. But still God considers me a leader. So this message is for everybody. So everybody was born to be a leader. I will prove to you through scripture that everybody was born to be a leader. And I remember last week when the Ladias were told to come and write the names of whom they want to be leaders. I am 100% sure that over 90% wrote their name in some specific positions. Because they know, they have something within them that tells them that I am born to be a leader and I was born to serve in such and such position. But the funny thing is, yes, everybody is born to become a leader, but not everybody has the spirit of leadership. So I want you to take me to the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16. Let us begin from verse 6. It's a very weird story. You see, And God rejected Saul as the king of Israel. And so God was now looking for another leader. And he told Samuel, I want you to go to the house of Jesse. And I will choose one of his sons. He did not say that I will choose this person. He said that I will choose one of his sons. So every son had the potential of becoming a leader. Is it true? But when Samuel went, he went and told Jesse that I've come to offer a sacrifice. And God wants to choose one of your sons to become the leader. And so Jesse called all of his sons. He started with Eliab. He was the eldest. And when Samuel saw Eliab, he said, I'm sure this is the one that God wants him to become a leader. He's handsome, he's strong, and he has all the qualities of becoming a leader. So Eliab had the potential of becoming a leader. But God rejected Eliab. And so I was asking God, why did you reject Eliab? You will go down and you will see that God said that I do not look at physical appearance. I look at the heart. I look at the spirit. So there is a certain spirit that God is looking for in a man. And this spirit is what entitles him to become a leader. I hope you are understanding. So he said, I do not look at the physical appearance. I look at the heart. So there was a certain spirit that God was looking for. And I hope that by the end of this message, you'll be able to understand what this spirit contains. I only have 40 minutes. Right now, I have 34 minutes left. So pay attention. If you have somewhere to write, just write. Just write. Because it will change your life. And so he said, and the Lord said unto Samuel, how long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn, I have provided me a king among his sons. Go to the next verse. And Samuel said, how can I go to the next verse 6? Go to verse 6. And so, it was one of his sons that was supposed to become leader. And after the first son was rejected, Jesse called the second son. His name was Abinadab. And the second son was rejected. The third son was rejected. The fourth son was rejected. Up to the fifth son. Up to the seventh son. And now Samuel is asking Jesse, do you have another son? Because all of your sons have been rejected. But God said that there is one of your sons who will be made a leader. And so I love the way Jesse responded. He said that yes, I have one son, but he's taking care of the sheep. I want you to write down, taking care of the sheep. That is one quality of a leader. I have one son, but he's taking care of the sheep. And so Samuel told Jesse, call that son. And when David came, God said that I do not look at the physical appearance. I look at the heart. But the way God described him, he described him using his physical appearance. Can you go next? I want you to see how God described David. He said, and David was handsome, his eyes sparkled, and he was healthy. So God, it is not that he does not look at the physical appearance. He looks at the heart, yes, but even the physical appearance matters. We will go there. I'm going ahead of myself. So, the Lord sees the heart. Go to next. It will be okay. Itakuwa mbele kidogo, itakuwa around verse 14. And Jesse called Abinadab. Itakuwa around verse 14. And so I will start by the first point. A leader, or for you to become a leader, you must be a servant. It is a must. So when David was chosen, he was found in service. The disciples, there was a time that there was a very big, very great argument among the disciples on who is going to be the greatest. It was a very great argument. And Peter was saying that, you see, I've done this, Christ loves me the most, so I am supposed to be the greatest. I am supposed to be the leader of you, because they knew that Christ, his time is up. So somebody will take over. Who will take over? And there was a very great argument. on who will be the greatest. I love Christ. When Christ came, he did not rebuke them. I want you to understand something. Christ was never silent anytime the disciples made a mistake. When there was storm, and the disciples woke Jesus up, hey, Yesu amuka Bwana, ni kama tunaenda kukufa. What did Jesus do? He rebuked them. Where is your faith? Senior. There was a time the disciples were not able to cast out a demon. And so Christ came from prayer and he asked them, for how long will I be with you? But at this time they are arguing on who is to be the greatest. But Christ did not condemn them. Christ did not rebuke them. Because Christ knew that we were born to become great. We were born to become leaders. And instead of condemning them, he showed them the way. Matthew chapter 20 verse 26. He showed them the way. He said, for you to become the greatest, you must be the servant. So for you to become great, you must serve. In the kingdom of darkness, it is where you are being served as a leader. But in the kingdom of God, for you to become great, you must serve. So if you are here and you are aspiring to become great, then there is one rule and one condition that you should not forget, that you must serve. I hope you are understanding. Come on, and just wave at me. Thank you. I see 80%. 20% ni kama mwelewi. And so the second quality, or the second thing that made God choose, first of all, David was a servant. But the second thing that made God choose David over the rest of the sons, it was that. This one is very interesting. You see, the rest of the sons were interested in the position of leadership. But David was never interested. It was not that even he did not know that a leader was being chosen. But the 7 sons knew that there was a leader that was going to be chosen. David did not know that the leader was being chosen. He was busy doing what he was purposed to do. So it must be your purpose. And before God appoints you as a leader, he must give you a vision. That is a must. You must have a vision. And one thing I want is because there is something that they can see in you. You may not see it, but they can see the vision in you. And so as a leader, you must have a vision. That is a must. You must have a vision. There was in the book of Matthew, Christ is asking, how can a blind man lead another blind man? If that happens, they will both fall into a pit. One man has to see for him to lead the rest. In the book of Proverbs, Solomon is saying the difference between a fool and a wise person. It is that the fool lives in darkness. In short, the fool cannot see. The fool does not know where he's going. But a wise man is in the light. He can see. He has a vision. So for you to become a leader, you must have a vision. You must have a vision. I don't want to expect me these are politics, but there is a certain person who really impresses me. The bottoms up economy. So there are some people who are following him not because of himself, but because of that vision. He's a very wise man. As much as I know some of us may not be supporting him, but he's very wise. We have to praise him for that. He has a vision. So every time a leader comes and starts giving his manifesto, nobody is listening to the leader. Everybody is trying to see what vision does this leader have. I hope you're understanding. And so if you are here and you aspire to become a leader, make sure you have a vision. My exec can tell you, the moment I was given the position of leadership, the first meeting, I wrote down the objective, I wrote down the purposes and how we are going to achieve it. And I presented it before them. And on Sunday or next week, on 7th. On 7th, I will present it before you. so that you will see how a leader is supposed to behave. Is it true? See, I wrote down the objectives. I wrote down the purposes and how I'm going to achieve everything that I'm going to do. You must have a vision. You must have a vision. And so when it comes to taking care of the sheep, the strength of a leader is evident in his subject. The glory of the Father is evident in the Son. So the strength of a leader is evident in his subject. So if you are a leader, if we want to know how strong this leader was, we are looking at the sons. The leader might not be seen. There are some people who know Joshua. There are some people who know Theophilus Sunday, but they do not know the father of Aromehosai. But Aromehosai is a very strong and fervent leader. He's a very sober leader. Because if you look at the sons that Aromehosai has raised, very powerful sons. He has raised a man called Michael Rocco. He has raised a son called Michael Rocco. There is a certain person who sang. First it was Preference. Then it was Eliud Njega. He's still his son. So the glory of the Son is the glory of the Father is evident in the Son. So if you are a leader, you must invest in your subject. You must invest in your subject. There is no way that you are claiming to be a leader and you are ruling alone. It is a false theory. That is what made Hitler kill himself. Because he realized that I've been doing these things alone and it is failing. You get it? So the strength of a leader is evident in the subject. And the third thing that I want you to learn about a leader, it is the thoughts of a leader and the thoughts of the subjects of the disciples are very different. The leader does not think the same way the disciples do. There was a time Christ, or after the death of John the Baptist, Christ went to a lonely place. And so because Christ had a lot of followers, there is a difference between followers and disciples. If I get time, I will teach you the difference between followers and disciples. And so Christ had a lot of followers, and because these followers loved Christ a lot, they went to mourn with Christ. And so they stayed up the mountain for 3 good days. And after staying up the mountain, there is something that happened. Now Christ is out of the mountain and he finds people there. And so the disciples come to Christ and tells Christ that, you see, these people have been here for 3 good days. I think that you should send them away so that they can have something to eat. But I love the way Christ responded. I want you to know that Christ was training leaders. He was training the disciples to become leaders. And he told the disciples, why don't you feed them? I want you to understand. Why don't you feed them? So that was the mentality of the leader. And so what did the disciples say? The disciples say that the 5,000 of them, it will take around 6 months. It will take around 6 months salary for us to feed all of them. And so Christ went. Because this Christ had a vision, and there is something that he knows that the disciples did not know. He gave thanks to God and he fed the 5,000 people. So that is the mentality of a leader. The mentality does not think the same way the disciples do. The disciples wanted to chase away the followers, but Christ fed them. So if you are a leader, ensure that the way you think and the way that the disciples think is different. And I'm telling you, people know that your thoughts are different. And that's why in case there is a problem, we come to Pastor, there is a problem in this and this, what should we do? So if a pastor did not have the spirit of leadership, and say, guy, it is true. When people come to Moses and tell Moses, Moses microphone tatu zimeharibika. And if Moses did not have the spirit of leadership, hata yangeshtuka tu, tumeisha kabisa. And the other thing you should know is that A leader always has a different attitude. There are two animals in the Bible that God associates with himself with. Two animals in the Bible. I know you know the animals. The first one is the lion. And it is very funny how an elephant, when the elephant sees the lion, because the elephant is bigger and is more stronger and it has more pounds. An elephant's trunk can cut down a tree. But when it sees the lion, it runs away. Is it true? And when the lion sees the elephant, the first thing it comes into its mind, wow, meat. And the elephant sees the lion, I'm dead. The only difference between the two animals, it is not the physical appearance. It is the attitude. It is the attitude. And that's why Jesus calls himself, I am the Lion of Judah. I am the Lion of Judah. If you go to the book of Proverbs, chapter, there are 4 things that impresses God. I've been studying these things, and I realized that one of the things that impresses God, 4 animals that impresses God, and one of the animals that impresses God, it is a goat. And I was wondering, how can a goat impress God? So it is in the book of Proverbs chapter, it's in the book of Proverbs, you see, I've even, 1 minute, nimejipata sifuati notes tena. I'm just going in the leading of the Spirit. So, it is in the book of Proverbs chapter 21. 1 minute. So it's in the book of Proverbs chapter 30, verse 30. So you will begin from verse 29. The book of Proverbs chapter 30, verse 29. So there are 4 animals in this world that impresses God. 4 animals. One of the animals is a lion. The second animal, according to the Good News Version, Proverbs chapter 30, verse 30, it says, the second, you begin from 29. The second, it's a cock, and the third, it's a king in front of their people. So there is, if you recall, there are 3 things that go well, ye 4 are calmly in going. Go to the next verse 30. A lion which is the strongest among the beasts, and turneth not away from any. I want you to, if you can write it down. The lion is the strongest, and it is not afraid of any animal. So go to the next. All these 4 animals, they have one character. A greyhound, or an he-goat also. It's called a he-goat. I want you to write down the he-goat. They have one characteristics. A greyhound, it is a cock, and a king against his servants. So I looked at it took me around 3 months to meditate and understand why these things impress God. Because I never thought that a goat could impress God. I never thought that a cock could impress God. But among all the animals, there are dolphins, there are whales, there are sharks. Among all the animals, God chose a he-goat, a lion, a straddling cock, and a king. And so what quality do these 4 things have that impresses God? Because I believe that it is not the nature, it is what they have. Every day at 6, you will realize, or if you are every day at 6, you will find out that a cock wakes up and makes noise to all people. Inaamka na inaamsha kila mtu. I know it takes a lot of courage to do that. Mimi niamke kila siku asubuhi napigia watu banduru. Every day. There was a day there were 2 goats. And so I was supposed to feed the goats, and I went and poured it in the middle. And I realized that there is one goat that is keeping another one from eating. So chakula ni mingi, lakini goat ingine ikikuja kukula inazuiwa.
And so there is something that this God had. I really noticed it ni kitu ngumu sana. Hata ni chapa hata kisimame hapo katikati bado inazuia ile ingine. A lion is self-explanatory. A lion is very courageous. And it's very bold. And now the last person is the king. And they have these two qualities. They are courageous and they are bold. And that is what impresses God about them. The cock has an extra quality. It is disciplined. The straddling cock. It is disciplined. Every day at 6, the straddling cock will wake you up. So for you to be a leader, you must be courageous, you must be bold, and you must be disciplined. Wangapi amenipata, wangapi wamepotea mpaka hapo? Kama umepotea inua mkono. I'll repeat. Kama umenipata inua mkono. Thank you. 50% umepoteza watu kadhaa. And so the next example or the next quality of a leader. Okay. You see, in the vision there is something that I forgot and it's very important. I have to get back to it. It is in the vision, a leader should have a vision, and one thing you should know that the greater the vision, the greater the position. So if you have a greater vision, you will have a greater position. Write it down, just I explain. And so the next thing I want you to know about leadership. Yes, it is for everybody, but there is a spirit of leadership. And I was asking God, now what is this spirit of leadership? Because if everybody can become a leader, why are we not all leaders? And I realized when God rejected Saul, there was a spirit that left Saul. Is it true? And he ceased to become a leader. When God accepted David, there was a spirit that entered into David. And now David became a leader. And so I thought that the spirit of leadership are the qualities of leadership. Until I came to understand that the spirit of leadership is the spirit of God. So for you to have the spirit of leadership, you must be sure that you have the spirit of God. You must be sure that you have the spirit of God. And I know many of us will look at the charisma. The Greeks, they used to look at the blue eyes. They used to look at the light skin. They used to look at the charisma of a person, but they did not look at the spirit of God. And that is where they messed up. So this is the most essential part of becoming a leader. You must have the spirit of God. You must have the spirit of God. And one thing I want you to know is that yes, you can become a leader, but you can also be rejected as a leader. That is one thing that you should be sure of. And there are some things that may make a person be rejected as a leader. I know most of us want to become leaders, but none of us wants to be rejected as a leader. But if you do the things that I'm going to tell you right now, it is automatic you will be rejected. So the first thing that will make you be rejected as a leader, and this will make you be rejected first. And this is the main reason why many people are being rejected as leaders. So the first thing that will make you become rejected as a leader is disobedience. It is disobedience. From Genesis to Revelation, every disobedient leader was rejected by God. So if you are a leader and you are looking for a ticket to be rejected, unasikia umechoka na service, become disobedient. And that we'll find it in the book of Genesis. There are many verses of disobedience and they're losing the position of leadership. Adam was told, I'm giving you everything, but do not eat the fruit of tree and the fruit of knowledge. Do not eat the tree from do not eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Sorry. And so at that time, Adam had authority over everything. He was in charge over everything. But the moment he ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge, he lost that authority, and the authority shifted to the devil because of disobedience. There was a certain man. I was really interested in his stories because, you see, I love giving sacrifices. But when I came to realize that this man gave sacrifice, and instead of God being pleased with his sacrifice, God denounced him as a leader. His name is Saul. And so God told Saul, I'm going to give you victory over the Amalekites. I believe it was Amalekites. I'm going to give you victory over the Amalekites. And I want you to kill everything. Everything. Every child, if you find a child, kill the child, kill every animal, everything, destroy everything. But now instead of Saul destroying everything, he spared the best for God. And he said that I give these sacrifices to God. And the moment he did that cry, God rejected him as king. So one of the main reasons or free ticket to the loss of position of leadership, it is disobedience. It is disobedience. The second thing that will make you lose your position very fast, and this is the most sensitive part, it goes hand in hand with disobedience. It is pride. It is pride. I know you know of a lot of men of God who were once great, but right now they are nothing. There are many leaders who are once great, but right now they are nothing. If you go behind and see what happened in the middle, you will find pride. It is written that pride comes before a fall. So before a fall comes, there is something that comes along with it. It is. So pride will make you lose position very fast. And this one will look at the story of Nebuchadnezzar. God raised the kingdom and he made the kingdom so powerful. And now one morning Nebuchadnezzar is waking up and is realizing that this kingdom is very powerful. And instead of giving accolade to God, he says that I'm the one who made this kingdom the way it is. After finishing that statement, God told him, I will prove to you that it is not by spirit, it is not by might, it is not by power, but it is by my spirit. And he said, from today, for the next 7 years, you will eat with other animals in the jungle. And after 7 years, I will restore your position back to prove that it is not by might, it is not by power, it is by my spirit. God says that I exalt the humble, but I resist. It is God himself who is resisting the pride. In the book of Proverbs, there is a verse, there are 7 sins in this world that God hates. I don't know if I can remember all of them, but I know that one of them, it is a proud look. It is a proud look. There is another one, a hand that sheds evil. Yes? Yes? Hands that shed innocent blood, a feet that runs to evil, and the rest. I cannot remember all of them, but there is one that caught my eye, and I'm always sensitive to it. It's called a proud look. So it is among the 7 things in this world that God hates the most. And I'm sorry for the temperatures. I know we should do something on this heat. Najua watu wamekaa chini wanavumilia tu. I'm only remaining with 6 minutes. 6 minutes. But I pray that before this 6 minutes ends, there is something that you will learn. So you will be, these 6 minutes ubebe kitu, usitoke hivyo. As much as najua kuna joto na kuna distractions mingi, jaribu tu kuvumilia for the 6 minutes. Thank you. So a proud look. There was another king who was called King Belteshazzar. How many knows the story of Belteshazzar? If you know the story of Belteshazzar, just agree with me. nisikuwe nafunza peke yangu. Isaiah, man of God. Thank you, Barasa. So I have realized that most of you do not know this story. So this king, it's in the book of Daniel chapter 5. This is what he did. Now God, after Nebuchadnezzar died, God raised him as king. And so he's the only king that I realized his story has been written in only one chapter. You see, to become a king and your story is being written in only one chapter, and that chapter there is nothing good in that chapter. It is a great dishonor. And so I was wondering, what did this king do? In Daniel chapter 5, you can go to that. And so when this king became a leader, when he was given the position of leadership, he said that now we have to celebrate. And he went to the house of God and took the golden cups, the cups that were supposed to give sacrifice to God. He showed this is what he was trying to do. He was trying to say that I'm equal with God. So if God can drink from this cup, even me, I can drink from this cup. If God can eat from this plate, even me, I can eat from this plate. Thank you. Yeah, the great feast and the wine before the 1,000. So he ate and he drank and he did everything. And so as he was doing that, God came. You see, there is no way you can mock God. You cannot mock God. And so God came by himself, and he came via hand. And he wrote many, taken. Yes? He said many, taken, passing. Many, taken, passing. You see, even the feast did not end before God came. And he wrote on the wall. And so that thing disturbed Belshazzar a lot. And now Belshazzar was asking, who can interpret for me this word? And so he was really disturbed by the hand. Many, taken, basi. Thank you. And you will find later on that Daniel came and he told him that your days are numbered. You have been put on a weight. Your days are numbered. I do not know what that last means. Passing. And so I want you to realize every time you try to exalt yourself with God, God does not delay. He comes down. And he proves to you that we are not equal. And the king died. During the night he was exalted as king. Because of pride, he died. I want you to understand that those are the effects of pride. I know the last thing that can make a leader lose his position. It's not the last. There are many things that can make a leader lose his position. But according to my research, this is the last. It is ignorance. It is ignorance. In the book of Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, a very common verse among believers, my people perish due to lack of knowledge. So when God gives you the position of leadership, it's where the gospel will still be preached, whether there are lights or not. The gospel will still be preached, and the teaching will be disseminated, and you will learn, you will understand. Watu huko nyuma mnanisikia? Thank you. So I came to realize when God gives you a position, He does not teach you how that position works. He just gives you a position and now tells you the way He gave Adam. He gave him authority over everything. I've given you authority over the fish of the sea, the fowls in the air, and everything on this planet. But He did not tell them now, I want you to do this and this and this to the fish. I want you to do this and this and this to the... So He gives you a position and He will not give you the way. Or He will not tell you how you are supposed to do it. But this is what He will do. He will give you the potential and the ability to do it. So, when God gives you a position, He will give you the ability to do it.
And the moment you become ignorant of what you are supposed to do, you will lose that position. Very fast. You will lose that position. So when you receive the burden or when you are given the position of a something, what you are supposed to, and that's why God was very angry with Moses. Because God gave Moses the position of leading the Israelites, taking the Israelites out of Egypt to the land of Canaan. And so instead of Moses started debating and telling God that, God, but no, I do not know how, and God was very angry. So as a leader, what you are supposed to do, every time you are given the position of leadership, you may not be given the way to do it, but as a leader, you are supposed to look for the knowledge of how it is supposed to be done. And your knowledge will establish you. Because leaders are established on what they know. Great people are being established on what they know. And because I realize that I only have 10 seconds remaining, I would like to leave you with this quote. I would like to leave you with this quote. If you have somewhere to write it down. So I will leave you with this I love telling people, but the last quote is based on leadership. So as a leader, you should think like a man of action, and you should act like a man of thought. That is the first quote. As a leader, do not be like the sun. You see, the sun is too bright that you cannot look up to it. But be like the moon. Not too dim, but you are emitting enough light for your followers to see. And as a leader, the last thing you must do, it is everything that you do it with confidence. Thank you.
Of 18 years.